Welcome guys, welcome to the chat. Welcome to Lead Teens, brought to you by Arise Education. I'm by the names of Mose Patience, a student of the State Kigali. I'd like to also introduce my friends as we go with the show.
What's up everyone? My names are Ganzato Mlenenso, current student at New Life Christian Academy.
My names are Uwe and Ila Yvonne, and I go to Bashora Girls Academy.
So today we are discussing about studying abroad, but before we jump to that, how about to take a flashback to the previous time we had at school? Nelson, what do you think about the time we had at school?
The time we had at school, that was the longest academic term I ever had in my life, and I don't think I will ever have any other again. And thinking of how it was kind of hard because we had new school regulations abiding to the COVID-19 rules and regulations. It was kind of hard, standing in 1 meter, sitting in 1 meter, no games and sports, no fun, no entertainment. It was kind of hard and it was kind of strict. Life there sucked. It sucked.
So,
it was basically the same thing, but all we had to do is like adapt to the new normal and like have different ways of sitting, ways of studying, using online platforms a little bit more. So it was like it was new to us, and it was basically not as easy as we thought it would be. And it was very long. 5 months was just too much to take in, but thank God we just survived. Yeah.
So in the surviving, were you able to adapt, or?
Sure we did.
We had no choice. We had to. We had to, yeah.
We had to adapt to
I do not think my experience is far more different from yours. It was also strict. At school, when we first began, the first few weeks we had youth volunteers at school. They were there to remind us, keep a distance, wash your hands, sit in 1 meter, don't hug each other, don't hold each other's hands. So it was very rough at the beginning, but after we went on adapting. And I also agree it was the longest term, about 5 months. That's very, very long. So keeping on going to school, waking up every morning and going to school was a little bit challenging, but yeah, we survived. So the issue on the table today is studying abroad. Nelson, do you think you would go abroad, and why do you think you would go?
Okay, if given a chance, I would go there because studying abroad is kind of more fun, and it will make you an international student or graduate as an international student, which will make a way for you to the international labor market. That's why I think I go there.
Really? So is it the lifestyle for you, or is it the studies?
I would say the studies. I would say studies.
Ria, what do you think?
Well, I would definitely go there, yeah. But I'm not sure if it's 100% the studies. I mean, they have nice studies, but like there's also the option of studying from online, the same studies as the other ones. But I think I would go for the lifestyle, honestly, because it's a bit more less tense, and you have a wider broad of cultures, the people there. So you have a lot to learn. We have a lot of people to learn from, their cultures, their languages, their ways of thinking. So it's like more of their lifestyle, but not in a negative way of like drugs and stuff, but like the lifestyle of getting adapted to different situations.
So Nelson, do you think that the lifestyle abroad is reluctant, it's more flexible, and it will help you study abroad, or do you think it will actually degrade your study? Well,
The lifestyle abroad, somewhat flexible because, as Leila said, it will help us in many things, getting to know how to adapt yourself in a different condition. As Leila said, so I would then say it will decline or affect negatively my studies. Because there will be more things to learn. Okay, it will include, my studies will include learning from their lifestyle, so I can know some new stuff because I won't be studying only school stuff. I need some more stuff.
Okay, so while you're studying abroad, excuse me, do you picture yourself also working there, or you also have the back of your mind something telling you, I have to go back to my country and work there?
If given a chance of working there, I would stay there.
You'd stay there.
Yes, I would work there.
And stay there?
Yes.
When do we play?
Because,
I would. I think about working there, but not permanently. I mean, when I do my studies, I want to have like a job in the meantime, but not like permanently. When I finish my studies, I'll have to give back to my country. Yeah, because I have okay. Let's say my personality is very sensitive to working for people who are the cause of our poverty, if I would say that.
Yes.
So why would I go and improve a country that's already all there and that's trying to take everything that you have? So it's basically going to like gain knowledge and experience, but then maybe, not maybe, surely just to bring it back to the country and see how things go.
So Nelson, why would you not repatriate your brains back to your country?
okay, I say if given a chance.
No, you said if given a chance to work
I
there,
would say
you would
I
stay there.
Yes. The reason why I would stay there, I wanted to highlight it. It's because working there will gain a good work experience, and I can say more money, as my friend just whispered.
Yeah.
This life, we're working towards money. But after gaining the experience, surely I would find another way of developing my country. Maybe not by working there, but maybe building infrastructures here. With the money I'm gaining, those infrastructures will be able to the community around those infrastructures.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking. There's this thing we recently read about how people think helping the country is actually coming back, but what if you come back and do nothing? So, like the point is, if you go, okay, if I go abroad, then my mind will just have that same mentality of I want to develop my country too, no matter the means. If it's sending the money, if it's me going to work there as a volunteer, if I accept to gain
Raising funds.
yeah, you know, like if I could also like develop the country by making it known abroad, like I start funds of like our language, our dance, you know, like yeah, it's about your idea and what you actually want to do, not just how you do it. That's what I think.
Okay, so do you think that companies or organizations that prepare scholarship for students with conditions that they have to come back to work immediately in their country, do you think it limits the country or the student, the development? Because you both say that at a certain point you all dream of coming back to your country to develop it. But how about those scholarships that have conditions that immediately after graduating you have to come back?
I think I have an unpopular opinion. When they say they come back, I think it's not a thing that was always there. It's because of certain observations they have made that we all have the mindset of I'm going abroad, it's better, I'm leaving this poverty, I'm leaving everyone behind, I'm going to be rich, you know, like all that mindset that is not what the country actually wants. So what I think is important is that the people get to understand actually why they are being told to come back. It may be maybe not in the best means it could have gone through, but I think the reason is because they know that the people might have stayed there and be unproductive and maybe go for like jobs, you know, everything that's cool there, and that doesn't like give a nice image to the country. Yeah. So I think they have a reason to say that, and I think if you actually get the scholarship and you want the knowledge and you get the knowledge, then you can just come back like they told you. They have the reason to do that. They have the reason.
For me, I kind of tackled the fact that they limit the country. Because I can say the country needs more infrastructures. And we working here in Rwanda, I don't think we get enough money, I can say, or enough capital to build those infrastructures. But working there, their money has high value than ours. And for example, if you work in any certain country and you earn a lot of money, and as I said, I want to come back, not working here, but building infrastructures. If I build an infrastructure, you will be working there. I'll be employed. While you building it, I will use construction companies here in Rwanda, paying them. That will bring some employment opportunities to the country people. And the fact that it's there to make the country look more developed. Yes.
So we can agree that the conditions of coming back to your country were good for the reason of development.
Yeah, there are different opinions. One is that yes, they wanted to develop it, but then on the other hand, it actually doesn't develop it because when you come back, I'm going to be a little bit brutally honest, is that you don't get as much money as you would get abroad, and that's actually a way of saying if our citizens are not gaining the money that, or our nationals are not gaining the money that they need to gain, a lot of money, then the country is not developing. So it actually does limit the country, but it's like two-sided. I don't know which one to choose, but yeah.
It's two-sided.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was done by government so as to actually develop it, because developing a country doesn't necessarily mean an individual earning high amounts of money. It also involves sacrificing that large amount of money to come and build that small, but when you are in large amounts of people, and actually get to something. So because they say if you want to go far, go with people, but if you want to go far slowly, go alone. Yeah. So
why wouldn't you go particularly? But you could. Oh yeah.
What do you think would look at it?
Okay. Well, this agreement is real imagination based reality. Expectations.
Okay, so a lot of us, when we're in high school, graduating or anything, we aspire to go abroad. We think of going abroad. We put it in our minds. So, what do you think is the real image of what happens, and what do you think is the expected image of what happens when people choose to go abroad?
Okay. If we talk about expectations versus reality of going to study abroad, then I think my opinions also don't, they have also two sides. The first one would be the expectations we have are not what we actually have to expect, because most of us think of abroad as in the clothes you're going to wear, the phone you're going to have, the people who are going to follow you on Instagram, the places you're going to live in, how you're going to look when you come back, and less of the books you're going to use, what you're going to study. So yeah, the expectations are like, yeah, you're going to get rich, far from the reality. But the reality is life hits you because you're the international person there. You're probably not, okay, some of them don't know the language, some of them are going to live apart from their families, they don't know how to earn a living, they can't get a work permit if you don't have the citizenship. Like it's going to be very hard, and we just want to imagine the good things about going abroad, but then it actually gets very hard. But if you get all that, you also get to study. The system there is way harder. Everyone just works on their own. There's no cooperation. No one cares about that random student that went abroad. You're just out there hustling alone. So the expectations, even the measures we use to like measure the expectations versus reality are not the same. When you imagine going abroad, you think about the clothes, but when you get there, you don't even think about the clothes. All you're doing is like, how can I survive and how can I make my family proud? Which actually most people fail to, because they come and lie to us that they have jobs while they work at KFC or something as waitresses or Yeah. So expectations, all I would say is you should you should look at all the scopes when you expect to go abroad. Yes, the clothes, yes, your Instagram feed, how it's going to look, yes, but also how you're going to struggle to reach that, yeah, that level.
Okay, when you talked about Instagram feed, I remembered, I think that the expectations of students here in Rwanda are actually very much influenced by social media. Like when you see your friends or family who have gone outside the country, how they dress, how they look, where they live, if they drive cars, if they not, the types of jobs they have, if they're able to send their families a lot of money back home or not. I think all that actually puts a certain scenario of being outside the country that is not the reality of being outside. Yes, they look good, but do you know how they earned that? Do you know what they went through to do that? So, with saying that, do you think that scholars of Rwanda that go outside actually use it to their own benefits, or they misuse their opportunities and go for what they look like for people whom they left back home, their families, or how they will arrive if they come for maybe holidays, Thanksgiving or anything, or any event that takes place at home? What do you think students of Rwanda do that?
Okay, I'll first talk about the expectations. I will put it in a simple word. The expectations of us going abroad is having a good life. Yeah, the reality is you're going to face a hard life. Going away from your parents, kind of many people going there, most of the people who go there, they don't have families there, I can say. And you will have to earn your everyday life. And it's not an easy thing in a foreign country. You will have to work at KFC, as they say, or any other job, not worth the time. Working 10 hours a week and adjusting it in your studying time, it will be hard as hell, I can say. And to the question you asked, if you don't mind,
I was asking whether Rwandan scholars, do they use going abroad to their advantage according to what you see? Do they use it to their advantage, or they're rather more taken of their image being outside, their social media presence?
So far, I never heard of a Rwandan student who ever succeeded in abroad colleges with a high score. But I see every day they post good things, good life. So I say they use it in their own way. They're not driven by the ambition of studying, of knowing, but moreover they try to show the people who are behind them how it's fun to be there, how it's cool, the good life, what to expect. They want to feel the expectations. Yes.
But then, okay, I think there are two types of people when you classify the people who go abroad, like the scholars. There are those people who know what they want, like starting from S1, you want to be not just return, you want to be an important person, you've always been motivated. Even the people you go with in class, they always tell you how motivated you are, how strange it is that you don't ever get taken away by the life outside. Like you're very straight, like on a line, focused. And then there's that other one that yes, they know what they want, run the goals, they do everything, but they're easily shaken, that's what I can say, by what they see. So those people who are focused, I think they do succeed. Some of them actually do. They become presidents of, they lead clubs in universities, they start movements, they start businesses, they get a lot of money, they get jobs, But then there's that other person that's like, I thought I was smart back in Rwanda, but now everything is hitting me, at least let me use my social media. And then they're like, I can even drop out of school, I don't care, as long as everyone thinks that I have a good life. So they start buying expensive clothes, go to expensive restaurant that everyone knows, just to cover up for the pain that they actually didn't get to what they expected to have. Or some of them just go for the outfits, they don't even care about the studies. They tell their parents to pay the school fees every year, but they don't actually go to any school. They're just out there using the money. For something else, not even for a business, just for living their life. So we can't generalize on how the random scholars are. Yeah.
So you just say that there's a student that would say, when I was in my country or when I was back home, I used to be bright, and now I am no longer that bright. So do you think if the opportunity of going abroad were given to rather more focused students than any student who can just go outside, like their parents being able to afford it, or have them getting scholarships in one way or the other, not necessarily using their brains, do you think if these scholarships were given to actually the people who were focused, it would make a bit of a change, or do you think it would still not change anything, because after all, everyone goes abroad and no one is still managing it there?
Well, I think no. Because first of all, how can you measure who's focused and who's not? Honestly, you can't judge by the grades, because I might have a 98 GPA percent on my school report, but I'm actually just doing it for the sake because I know I can get the results. Then I try to get them, but there's no like goal behind what I'm doing. So if you judge by the grades, you'll be wrong. If you judge by the appearance, you can't do that. There's no way like to judge who's focused on anything. And even if there was a way, why would you? Okay, like I feel like it would be discriminating people, because they might not be focused in the country, but when they reach there, they actually get successful. Like, it's very unpredictable, and how a person is going to react. So just pray about it.
So it's still in God's hands.
Yeah. So as we continue, we're going to although we all said we'd go abroad, there are things that would make us a little bit more skeptical on whether we'll go or not. Or would even be a little bit weird to adapt to as we're there. So the first scenario is, well, if you go abroad, okay, what if you're in Rwanda, okay, you went to a nice school, let's say LDK or New Life, and then this school in Germany wants like 30 students, and then you're picked among them. Then you go for Germany, no preparation, no nothing, but you had little time preparation. So you reach there, you prepared, let's say $100 or 100 on whatever currency they use, for like your hotel room, because your research told you that. But then you reach there, you find the money is like tripling, right? And you have no job, you don't know the language, you know no one there, like you don't have anything else. Yeah. So you've just arrived. So what would you do in that case?
Okay, I think that would happen without me having actually being one of the reasons that it happened. Like me going there, I wasn't aware that it would triple. I went with a budget which I thought would do for me out of there, but it's a shame. So I think immediately after I find out that, before I actually use more money, which is going to be even harder for me to pay, I will take the first flight home and figure out a way to pay them.
How do you pay the flight?
That's what I would figure out. So I would figure out how to get the flight and go back home, because me overstaying there with no job, no school or anything, that would also be hard. But if it was possible that I would go to the school where I was going to study and maybe ask for their help, if they'll be able to pay for me, and
if they're not willing.
Yeah, and if they're not willing, if they're not willing, then I think I'd go home, because instead of actually continuing to quadruple the money, I go home. Because
but you have to pay the money before you go out of the hotel. So you're there, you're stuck.
Then I'm just a case for myself.
Rwandan embassy. They have better issues. Okay.
I'll go to the embassy. As long as I have proof that I've just arrived,
yes.
I had this budget.
And you're Rwandan?
Yes.
Okay,
and there is an embassy there. Then my problems with
my first priority
that's the first thing I'll do. Finding out if there is an embassy.
The embassy will be around to solve the
Not all countries.
Okay, at least Rwanda cares about us. That's a nice thing. So another scenario would be, you go there, you are somewhat familiar. It's not in Russia. You go back to the US. Yeah. So you're somewhat familiar. You have a few friends. Yes. And then you have a very low budget. Let's say your family is not all that rich compared to where you are. And then there's this like big event, let's say like Halloween, and then your friends are like contributing $1,000 each, and you have you have no cash. You earn like $400, and you feel like it's a very big deal to you, and you don't want to have a bad image in front of your friends. You don't want to go big. You can't even go big. You can't do anything. You can't tell your parents you're asking the money for contribution of a party. You can't.
They don't even know what Halloween is.
Yeah, they don't even accept Halloween. So yeah, what would you do? Would you accept to have a bad image? Would you steal them?
I go for the bad image.
The bad image. Say you don't have the money.
You know, I think being outside would, to that point where I'm at school and they're preparing some events, I would have maybe a baseline of maybe where I would get credit if I needed it, or
Borrow for a party.
no, listen to me, hear me out, hear me out.
Yeah.
Like, of course, if I had no other alternative but tell them I'm not able to actually contribute to the party, I would, because I would borrow, as you say, borrow for a party and find myself in even larger credits that are unnecessary. Halloween, I would do that maybe if it was a charity. I would do it for someone which is actually going to impact on someone's life. But Halloween, I don't think it would pressure me to actually borrow that much money. $1,000.
But okay, you guys accept having a bad image?
Yes, I would
not even a bad. What if you even want to go to that party? They have been saying it for like a whole year.
No, you
want
wouldn't
to
even
so
wish
bad.
to go there.
No, imagine something is going to credit you so hard. You'll be smiling for one day, but you'll be crying for the next few months. As
But
you
can
pay
you
away
take
your
Christmas?
$1,000.
Okay, it depends on your views.
Yeah.
Yes, they must-
Halloween. But what are they going to use $1,000 for?
I
Buy
think I would
candy,
find ways to get
buy
money.
candy, make costumes. What?
Don't know Halloween.
No,
maybe
I
they
do know Halloween. They
Many
buy
other
candy,
things,
they
many
wear
different
costumes
things.
which are scary. They put on scary music. They watch scary movies.
And then the other one, let's say you go there, you are 22 and you are eligible for having a boyfriend and everything, and then your friends advise you, and then your friends advise you to use online dating. Then you go on like blind dates. You know, it's very 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 unusual in Rwanda. No one does that, right? So you go there, and then you meet the family of the person, and then as they try to meet you, they'll be like, you're black, can you afford your own food, or should we help you with food, or like, do you know English, or like, are you hearing me, like things that are very offensive to you, and then you can't just go to that family and just start trash talking them. You have to sit there and be humble, like they expect you to do. Like they treat you as a little monkey. They be like, do you have food there? Do you, because it's very common there.
Yeah.
So what did you do there?
Okay, I think for someone to actually take you to their parents, blind date or no blind date, that you would be on some level. But actually outside, I think they don't mind if I tell my parents that I have a boyfriend. Assuming I'm outside, they just say you can bring her over, and it's something simple. But in case a guy takes me to his family and they start mocking, that's not just being offensive, that's mocking. Asking me if I have money, if I'm hearing you, and I've already started talking, you heard me talk, so what else do you need to understand? That would actually hurt my feelings because they're mocking me. What would I do? I would not offend them on the spot, because if I'm fighting with a child, then I'm also a child. I just chill. I just chill. Show them that it's actually not hurting me, but it will hurt me because somebody's mocking me and I'm literally talking. It will hurt me. But I just chill. I'd chill, but after I would comment to the guy about his family, and it would actually be very hard for me to go back.
So as we saw, there are a lot of things that could be very challenging for us when we reach there. Either the parties, the people there,
the drugs,
a lot of things.
Like people when they go outside, they are very introduced to drugs. I don't know. Some of them
lifestyle is very
expensive and very hard.
I think when people go through such lifestyles and come back to Rwanda, it's a little bit challenging for them to
Yeah,
cope.
even yeah.
They are here and they get the pressure, they need the drugs they've been taking, they need to go out every day. Yeah.
It's a nice.
Anywho, so as we finish like this section or the show, let's give like a small line of advice to people who want to go abroad. Small. So I'll start. Mine is think about everything before you actually choose to go. Yeah.
It's a small line.
Yeah.
Small line. Okay, see it in a different perspective.
Well, my small line would be before you're influenced about what you see, find someone who you were sure that is going to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Somebody who's going to be actually real with you, not
Yeah.
because he or she is ashamed
Wants you to go
of you taking him as a loser or her, but actually wants something good for you. Somebody who would actually make you think twice about it. I think that was a little bit interesting to talk about going abroad, as most of the people in Rwanda right now are actually finishing their school years. They're graduating from 26, and I think you've had different views of what to do, what to think about before you actually go there. Yeah, so thanks for being all ears as we were telling you, and hope to see you next time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So yeah, that's
So-
it. Bye.
Bye.
Let's go for the show.
Yeah.